Hi, I'm Robin. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you, I want to say a reprint. It's not exactly a reprint, it's more of an homage to an early version of Pamela Coleman Smith's deck that was put out by the Laurence company. Now, I first heard about this through a walkthrough of a vintage version on Brant at Moonbaby's channel, and he will give you all the back history on that. And his version is an orange deck, which was later. Apparently this came out in several colors. The original one was yellow. There were two different shades of yellow in two different editions, and then some orange, I think maybe more than one orange, and then finally red, I believe. Also, Melissa Zupan did a walkthrough with some information as well. So you might want to check out both of those walkthroughs on those channels. Melissa very kindly let me buy her unneeded copy of this reprint. It was designed for New York tarot person, Ferol Humphrey, by, I guess, a friend or associate of hers in Italy, Marco Benedetti, in 2020, just a few months ago. I believe that she had an original Laurence one, but wanted one that she could use rather than the rare one that she had. So he made this for her. And there are two different versions. The other one is paler yellow, and that was the earlier one. But the yellow is so bright and so harsh that it looks to me like fluorescent, almost like fluorescent green. It's like that jarring, a yellow. Then there was another one that was darker that looked like Goulden's mustard, sort of hot dog mustard yellow. And that one I really liked. Now, when Melissa did a walkthrough, I noticed there were some issues with the coloration in the cards, or I should say the reproduction of the line work in the cards. Some of them were quite smudgy and dirty looking. Proper care was not really attended to in the reproduction of this deck, I don't believe. And had I ordered it directly, I would have been horrified. But having seen her walkthrough and liking the color of it, I now knew what I was in line for, getting this deck. So I decided I wanted it just for the sake of the color. And while the dinginess, dirtiness is something I might expect in an old vintage copy found in somebody's attic, when it's reproduced on fresh, clean, new cards, even though it's dirty, they're clean. It just has a dirty look to it. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of had to live with that, but I think I'm okay with it. I kind of appreciate it for what it is and what it isn't. The box had text that is different, but they use the same font as the Laurence version. It's a bigger box than needs be for the deck. There was a lot of extra space in here. Probably enough space for a little white book, which this didn't include. So I'm guessing this was a generic box size that whoever the printing company he dealt with used. The cards themselves, the cardstock is reasonably thick. It's not too thick, not too thin. Feels okay to me. I think they got a little bit lazy. I mean, the backs are just plain white card. And if you look at the fronts and the backs, the front is a little nicer, has a kind of a slight sheen to it. The back, nothing. The back actually reminds me of that cheesy white cardboard. I don't know if they still do this, but when I used to buy shirts at like Sears or J.C. Penney's or something, there was always cardboard lining the collars. And it kind of reminds me of that shirt cardboard if you look at the finish on it, and you'll remember that. But, how much trouble would it have been? I guess extra expense to print on the back side of the card, but, to just throw yellow wash on there or a simple pattern of some kind as opposed to just blank white cards. But nevertheless, that's what they did. But I'll just go ahead and show you the cards. So you're familiar with the Rider-Waite system, but these are a little bit of a revelation in this color scheme. I really like. I hope the camera's picking up the color properly. This one's the bad one. The black is not black. It's kind of smudgy black. And the gray tones are kind of smudgy. Some cards are better than others. I just love this yellow, actually. I kind of find it refreshing to have just a kind of a monochrome deck, just with black and one other color. And I think Brant showed his tangerine colored one. I actually prefer this mustard yellow one to the tangerine. I haven't seen the red one. But this saved me a lot of money. You can get this at Game Crafters, and they also have the other version, I think the paler version as well. It's called Ferol Humphrey's American Tarot was the title they gave it. It's kind of dirty smudge in the gray there. Lucky for me, my camera is not so good that you can't see all the uncleanness of the cards, of the images. A lot of people do their videos on these the latest version of iPhone or something where you can practically see every dot with a microscope. But these give you a general idea of the effect you get with just the black and one color. The borders are kind of big. I think they could have made the images a little bit bigger. Might have been one of those template issues where if they made the image bigger, it would have cropped off part of the image. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I haven't done anything with Game Crafters, so I'm not sure what their process is. I just did something with make playing cards, and there were some border issues there. It's a smudgy one. I apologize if you hear a lot of grumbling noises. My stomach is doing crazy things these days. I don't know what's wrong with it. I ate a little while ago, and oddly, it's not hunger pains. It's, I don't know if it's digestive issues or what. TMI, stuff you don't want or need to know unless you wondered, what the hell is all that noise? It's my stomach. So there you can see some smudginess in the background. I don't know how much or if I even will use these, but I do like having them. I've actually been sort of collecting more variations of this deck, um, different colorations, uh, different approaches to these images. I have another one on the way I'm really looking forward to that has some wildly pastel kind of images. It's a palette that I really like. Unfortunately, it's a majors only version of this deck. I mean, I just designed my own majors only deck, but this one already had 78 images, so I don't know why that other colorer or designer didn't follow through and do the whole deck. This one, the gray in there is really smudgy. Or I should say smutty, dirty looking. I believe US Games, I'm not sure if it was them, recently came out with a, unless it was Los Scarabeo or Llewellyn, I'm not sure who, came out with a recent, or not too long ago, edition, another dirty card, of a gold and black or black and gold, which was black line work and gold foil stamping, which is, you know, sort of similar to this in a way, since it's just the two colors. Another really dirty gray area here. Filthy. These cards are filthy. Except they're not filthy, they're printed filthy. They're actually clean, brand new cards. They just look smudgy and dirty. I don't know why it would have, it doesn't seem like it would have taken the designer that much more trouble to sharpen and clean them up. So this stuff could easily have been remedied with Photoshop. Even my primitive skills, I probably could have done it. I don't any longer own Photoshop, but I used to work with it a bit when I was a graphic design assistant. Some people with channels have noisy birds in the background. You have an old man's grumbling stomach. You just have to put up with it. I don't wonder, looking at these, why Melissa was ready to give them up. It seemed like the ones with a lot of gray in them are smudgier and dirtier looking than, say, a card like that, where it's predominantly yellow. Like here's a really bad one. The texture in that sky, and this one is really, ugh. And some of them almost have the quality of, like, I mean, like this one, the line work is almost like an ink pad, rubber ink stamp that didn't quite have enough ink on it, or you had stamped a number of sheets of paper and most of the ink, there wasn't much ink left on the stamp when this one got stamped or something. It has that kind of look to the line work. Ooh, that's a bad one too. Still, as bad as these are, some of them are quite wonderful. This is very nice. I'm quite happy to have these, despite any drawbacks. So there you go. That's the shirt collar mustard tarot. No, it's the Ferol Humphrey's American tarot after the Laurence tarot from, I forgot if it was the tens, the teens, or the 20s of the 1900s. But you'll get more information on that, more background, more history, if you go to Melissa Zupan or Moon Baby's channels.